What's up, what's up? Here we have Extremis Ironman variant, Blue Extremis Ironman, which I don't ever recall seeing in the comics. Correct me if I'm wrong, I've never seen a Blue Extremis. I don't know, this is kind of South Park to me. But let's get into it. Anyways, here's the Extremis armor, right leg of Terrax, Marvel Legends. Build-A-Figure! So happy to have the Build-A-Figure back. Here's the front of the card, artwork by good old Ed McGuinness. And let's turn this sucker around, see what we got in the back. Here's more artwork. Now, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm not a big fan of Ed McGuinness artwork, so let's just get off the bat. It's a little too cartoony for me. The only artwork I like from Ed McGuinness is the actual Red Hulk and Hulk series. I just like the way he does the big jaw on the Hulk, and the look that he brings to the Hulk I think is awesome. There's the regular, and there's the regular Iron Man, but today we're doing the variants. Anyways, but not a big fan of Ed McGuinness. Includes Tales of Terrax Part 3 of 6. Now this is something I didn't show in the Ghost Rider, but something that's very important. It comes with this paper, okay? And every paper has a different character. For example, see in the corner there? Tales of Terrax 3 of 6. Marvel's Dazzler. And what this is basically a piece of the history of Terrax. So it kind of tells what's going on with Terrax, kind of a little bit of history, kind of educating you guys on this old classic, old school character that a lot of us guys grew up loving. 1, 2, and 3 is what you need to read before this one. Read them in order. Here's the directions to Build-A-Figure Terrax. All that you need to know. And put this away. And like I said, every character comes with a different one. So I'll show you the other ones. For example, this one right here. Gosh, I believe it was the Ghost Rider one. And it comes with a different story. But we'll get into that a little bit later, and I'll show you what the deal is with that. Here we have the Terrax leg. Pretty stiff joints. We'll get into building this guy up a little bit later. Let's put that aside. And cometh to you now the Extremis Stealth Ironman. Alright. Now here's the thing that the impression I got. A lot of people were complaining that this armor was a little too small. But the truth is, once I pulled it out of the package, it wasn't so tiny. It was kind of nice and, you know, a little slick and slim. You know, it actually is a little small, but we're talking about millimeters. I mean, this armor, if they would have gone any bigger with this armor, it would have probably looked a little too bulky, and it's not supposed to be that bulky. But, you know, the size of the armor is perfectly fine. First impression I got on this armor, the armor was sculpted well. The helmet, everything about this armor is accurate. It's right on the money. They didn't mess up on this one. And, you know, you kind of expect Hasbro to, like, maybe, you know, mess up on something. I don't know, maybe the head sculpt or, I don't know, the arm, something. But this figure looks spot on. And this does pop off. So, do I hear a Tony Stark head coming later? Possibly. And would I be okay with it? Yes, I would. Now, not in the Marvel Legends line, maybe in the Iron Man line. If they gave us an extra head, that would be sweet. And we are expecting this figure to come in the Iron Man movie line as more of a toned down color, kind of like the color they used in the comic run of the Illuminati. So everything in this sculpt is just spot on for me. I love it. Now, something that is very awesome about this figure, the head can almost rotate completely down and can almost look completely up. This is something that other figures have been lacking, especially figures that fly. What does that mean? That means we can get this Extremis Iron Man in its comic perfect pose where he's just flying across the air, which means you bend the head up, the arms go above the torso a little bit, right? And the torso kind of goes into a banana shape. And this is how he just speeds around town. Look at that. Knocked it out of the park with that. You know, certain things Hasbro is really just nailing it for us. And other things, of course, some things are lacking. A couple of figures in this wave were lacking a few things, but overall, can't go wrong. The articulation is good. The ab torso actually extends back and forward just enough to make it work for flying poses. Now here we don't have a ball joint there, but we do have a T articulation in there. The T joint goes right across the pelvis to the other side. We got a thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and the leg can't quite pose, the foot can't quite pose all the way down, just a little bit, and enough to get it into a flight pose and bends up. Now something that was mentioned was the discs on the side rotate, and they rotate up to allow the leg to push out and rotate around the hip, which is really awesome because once again there's no ball joint there, but the T-hip is there, which makes this work for articulation. Now the sculpt does hinder the articulation just a bit, but I have no complaints. It's articulated enough to do what we have to do with this figure, and that's get him into his flight poses and repulsor blast poses and all that good stuff you do with ACBA. So now comes the real test, the test we've all been waiting for, the height comparison test. Now remember what I said about height comparison. We've got to get the legs and everything matching the opposite figure as far as stance, the width of the feet on the floor, and they have to make sure they're firmly planted, and knees have to be fully extended. That way we get an accurate look at his height. All right, here we got him planted right next to Shield Agent Soldier, which is the same body mold that was used for Steve Rogers. Got him looking forward here, so he's almost the exact same height as the Shield Agent, just on the slimmer side. Now, this Shield Agent body is used for Steve Rogers, and Steve Rogers is a big guy, and Tony Stark is nowhere near as muscular as Steve Rogers. So that's what gives me the impression that this Iron Man mold isn't too small, that Hasbro might have gotten the size almost perfect. Like I said, if anything, it's just a tad bit small. But once again, this suit is pretty tailored to his body. So here we can check out the size comparison in the torso, the arms, and the waist. Now, once again, like I said, this is the same mold as used on Steve Rogers. So Steve Rogers should be bigger than Tony Stark, in my opinion. See that? Now I did spread the leg just a bit on the Iron Man, so he's going to just appear almost a tad bit shorter, but they're almost just about spot on height, which is good, which means we have a 6-inch figure, right? We don't have anything less than that, assuming that the Shield Agent is the right height. Now another little comparison I want to do with these are the arms. Now his arms do seem a little small, but once again, let's just pretend this is Steve Rogers. Let's get the other arm up, that we get a better sense. Move this. Now Steve Rogers should be bigger. He's a super soldier. He should be bigger than Tony Stark. But I just have the sense that this arm on the Extremis Ironman is just a tad bit tiny. We're talking about a millimeter that's off. So maybe the prototype is the right size, and once this Extremis Ironman went to production, it got plated, and it gets reduced in size just a tad bit. So they might have sculpted this prototype to be perfect. And like I said, that's probably the only complaint, and it's really not even a complaint. It's just more of a, I guess, gosh, it's a bittersweet, These hands do come off, and there's a reason for that. Now, they did mention that the Iron Man Extremis that we were talking about, the one with the dull color, the one that you kind of see more with the Illuminati, that color will be released in the Iron Man series, preferably the Iron Man movie series figures, wave later on down the line, and I'm pretty sure they're going to give us interchangeable hands with that Extremis armor. So I'm glad that color is getting a better treatment and is getting the extra hands. I'm pretty sure we'll get extra hands if they come off. It would be nice to see an extra head also, but we can only hope. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and stay tuned for some more. Take care.